Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to wherever you may be watching me from. We are continuing with what we started in our previous clips, and that was on gender-based violence. As you can remember, in our previous clips, we talked about the definition of gender-based violence and went ahead to explain what gender-based violence is all about. Then we did also the various types of gender-based violence. And now today we want to get a bit more deeper into the subject, and this is going to be the various causes of gender-based violence. What are some of the causes of gender-based violence, which others may refer to as the risk factors to gender-based violence? So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click on the bell button so that whenever I produce a video, you become the first person to view. Let's move in very fast. What are some of, I'm using the word some of because there are so many causes or risk factors to gender-based violence, but I will just look at a few, maybe about 8 or 9 of some of the causes or risk factors to gender-based violence. So let's move on very fast. Number one, we have what we call uneven education, or sometimes lack of it. So lack of education is one of the very key risk factors or causes of gender-based violence. If one lacks education, whether formal or informal, then he or she may not be aware of all this that we talk about. So lack of education, someone may take an advantage of lack of awareness of someone and then perpetrate a crime in the name of gender-based violence against that particular person. So education is very key, and that is the essence or the reason why then this platform has been put in place, so that we educate. We shall be educating you on various things that you may not know. They are very simple, but if not taken seriously, can affect one's health. So lack of education becomes at the top on the list, and that is very, very key. The second thing that we also have to take note of is what we call unemployment. And this is becoming a serious challenge not only in Kenya, but to so many countries all over the world, or even in Africa at large. So when one is unemployed, there are certain things that he or she may intend to do or can be done to him or her because of that lack of the opportunity to get employed. Now, recently, there was a case that we witnessed where an employer takes an advantage of a job seeker, and this was a lady. A lady went to look for a job, and the recruiter or the employer wants the lady to quote unquote, what so many people may not want to discuss so openly, have sexual intercourse with him so that she can get the favor of being given a job. That itself is a serious gender-based violence. And it's not just an emotional violence, but also sexual harassment. So as we continue going deeper and deeper into this topic, we'll get to learn more. The third cause of gender-based violence is what we call the job segregation. Again, this is related to job that I've just talked about. And you realize that there is a discrimination on which job or who does which job. There are certain jobs that are preferably, that is what they say, that this is only preferred for men and this is not preferred for women, which should not be the case. Everyone is treated a special way, and everyone can do, if anything, anything if given a chance. So discriminating ones because of the sex, when it comes to job issuing, is a very serious gender-based violence cause. The fourth one, which we must also be very keen on are some of the untrusted religious beliefs. If you can take your time, make an observation on various religious institutions, or even some of the churches, not all, but some of them, they really misuse mostly the women gender, the female gender. So they subject them into certain mental illness, mental torture, certain stresses, depression. They use women to sell their churches, in assuming that women is a weak gender that does not question or ask them any question on their decision. And that is a violation of the rights or the women's rights. And that is gender-based violence. The fifth cause of gender-based violence, or if you like, risk factor, is what we call the lack of political goodwill. So you can see politics still feature in here. If there is no political goodwill to help in the support of enactment of laws that can protect the female gender, for example, because you remember we said previously that the group of people that suffer the most in this thing of gender-based violence are the women. So if no good laws are put in place to protect the women, the female gender, then we can have perpetration of, or we can have occurrence of several cases of gender-based violence. And the next thing that can result into gender-based violence is racism, or sometimes when it comes to Kenya, tribalism. So denying someone an opportunity in consideration of where the person comes from, which language the person speaks, which tribe the person comes from, actually is a violation of one's rights, and in this case, gender-based violence. And you realize that this is mattered or goes deeper downwards to even to a level where you are not only being considered for belonging to a particular tribe, but even if you belong to that tribe, they go down to then ask which gender are you, like are you a male or a female? So then they can make their choice of preference from there. The next risk factor or a cause to gender-based violence is what we call the retrogressive societal mindsets, that you find that in the 21st century, there are some society that still believe in certain ritual practices, certain harmful practices to human life. For example, the FGM practice, female genital mutilation, is actually a very dangerous practice in the society. And that is one of the causes of gender-based violence. There are some society that still believe that women or the female gender do not have a say where men are. And that is also retrogressive. That predisposes one to go through a gender-based violence. My final cause of gender-based violence or risk factor to a gender-based violence is what we call the drug and substance abuse. Now, acting under the influence of drugs or hard substances may make one fall a victim of gender-based violence or become a perpetrator of the vice. And therefore, education, creation of awareness becomes very important in this case. Ladies and gentlemen, I prepare for you a lot more. And please, in order for us to learn together and move together, kindly subscribe and give the video a like. Thank you very much for watching.